lot of people in the IT channel would love to emulate your career, getting to the top where you are at BT. You've had some big jobs there. And one thing I picked up, and I haven't prepped you for it, is around purpose, about making sure that you have a purpose with your job. And you mentioned around the broadcasters, and you actually felt you had a purpose. You were actually keeping TV on, but you actually, I believe what you said, you actually deeply meant it. How have you kept your purpose in the jobs when you've changed, and how would you advise people that are maybe struggling to find their purpose, thinking they're at work, they don't really feel they've got a purpose to actually go to work? How do you find your purpose, and how do you advise people to do it?
Yeah. You didn't say you were going to ask me, is it?
Sorry, it's a personal
This is the one under the bell, here we go. No, it's not. The first thing I would say, actually, is that life is never straightforward and easy, right? And actually, I'm lucky enough to have run like 4 marathons, countless half marathons, right? And actually, they're probably one of the biggest learning experiences I've ever had, right? And actually, when things are good, they're good. When they're not good, actually, I refer back to those. And I refer back to, it's probably about mile 16 to about mile 20, right?
Yeah.
And there's a bit where you want to give everything up. There's a bit where your head is saying, look, you're shot, this is hurting.
You've hit the wall.
You can just walk. Just walk. No one will know, it doesn't matter, just walk. You know, and there's another bit saying you can't walk. If once you break the seal, you're broken. And the bit I learned is just when it's tough, just keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
Just keep. And like, I think the best salespeople are people that recover from adversity. When it's easy, right? When the sales orders are rolling in, when you can't do wrong, it's flipping easy, right? If you haven't sold anything for a week, 2 weeks, or a month, that's the tough bit, right? That's the bit about I need to get up, I need to be happy, I need to be optimistic, I need to just. And I'm quite lucky. I've always been a really, really, really optimistic person. No matter how shit my day is, ridiculously at like 8 o'clock the next day, I can't wait. I'm going to have a brilliant day. And I think that I'm really lucky to have had some jobs that you do. The mobile operator one, we spoke about that, was brilliant, but the TV one was just like phenomenal. And there's a whole range of transmitter masts around the UK. And literally every single one of those was supplied by our services and our connectivity, and you're like, whoa, okay. And we have to warrant that they're super resilient, they don't go down the same networks and everything. And I can remember meeting the head of the network delivery, this lovely Scottish lady at ITV. It was very nice. And we were just going through what we'd got, how we were ensuring it would work just before they had the World Cup. And it was so lovely, and we kind of went through with some of the other partners involved in the chain, okay? And we kind of finished it, and the World Cup was massive in terms of advertising and everything else. Just at the end of the meeting, this lovely Scottish lady said, don't you dare fuck it up.
Stop it!
Totally,
no pressure.
It was totally out of character, and it was exacerbated by the fact it was totally out of character. And I used to sit there, and I'd be watching TV with my wife, and the screen would go black. You'd be like, no. You'd run to your phone, you'd get the phone, you'd be like, have we gone out? Is there something wrong? And it was, like, you realise that, I think Crystal Palace transmission in London, I think has about 5 or 6 million people on the end of it, right? And literally, your bit of connectivity goes down. Like, there'll be a resilient part, but it is like, boom. You know, you are in the doo-doo at that point. And you can imagine actually doing some of the outside transmission for the football sites. We run networks, like hyper-fast networks on all the grounds that they plug the cameras into. So you can imagine, like, Salah's just about to score, and it goes black. So that kind of stuff is...
It's catastrophic, isn't it? If it does,
yeah. And you kind of get your purpose at that point, you know. And it is like, whoa, I am keeping this connected, and it, you know, from that perspective, you can. Everybody, you know, it's like the old adage of the guy in the kind of white suit or the white overalls and the brush at NASA, like going along and sweeping the floor, and the lady says, "What are you doing?" He's kind of like, "I'm launching space rockets." And it is throughout the chain, everybody knows what they're doing, and everybody kind of like watches it and knows what success is. So, I mean, its purpose is really easy in places like that, you know. And it's not always been like that, and that's the bit about the tough miles. That's the bit about kind of like, you know, you've got to keep on going, you've got to find your purpose. And if people don't have a purpose, you know, personally, I would say find a purpose. If you don't have a purpose in your role, go and find that role where you have a purpose, you know, where you can go to work, you can do stuff and contribute and feel brilliant about yourself, you know, and know this is what I'm doing.
Great answer. My last question for you, Gavin, because I've interrogated you enough today, give you a break. My last question is, and I want you to take a moment to sort of think about the future. What do you think is next for the IT channel, and are you optimistic about it, you know, for next year?
Yeah, there's a massive subject we haven't even talked about yet that is kind of in our midst. So there's this kind of all IP bit, and we know that we're going to get super fast fibre to our houses, right? We know that, we don't even know what the use cases will be, but we just know that the compute power is going to just multiply massively. The bit we haven't talked about is 5G. And so 5G is just rolling out at the moment. And we are seeing just the embers of 5G at the moment. Actually, there's a lot more to come. And so we're kind of seeing faster mobile broadband. That's what we're seeing at the moment. But there are so many new use cases for 5G around autonomous vehicles, around Internet of Things, little devices and sensors that map stuff, and just the way we communicate, drones, lorries, all that kind of stuff. And I think that is actually, when you combine that with fibre, we're going to see a massive shift in terms of technology, in terms of factories, in terms of like robots, vehicles, stuff like that. And I think we're just really, really at the beginning of that journey. You know, the way that you'll be able to do things via that signal is just phenomenal. You know, and I'm not saying we're going to have loads and loads of autonomous lorries on motorways, but that is what that technology will bring, and we're probably about 18 months, 2 years away from the networks being ready. But when you look at that, all of a sudden the channel person has got a completely different role. It's not about a tablet, a phone line and a mobile. Now actually you're becoming part of the IT ecosystem, and what you can do in an office, what you can actually do out and about on your phone. They're doing all these holograms. Actually, we did a brilliant, the day 5G was launched, and I must tell you, it's a bit of a story. We got Gavin Jones, who's the technology correspondent for the BBC, to do a 5G launch, or a camera live over 5G from Covent Garden. And it was kind of, I did the mobile and the media bit, so it was easy to bring together. And it was just like, the day it was launched, it was brilliant. The bit you didn't see is that someone had used a phone with a data card that ran out of megabits about an hour earlier. And because it was new, it was just like you had to find a certain spot. So you had a big X on the ground where you had to stand. Don't go over there, don't go over here. But actually you got a live camera on 5G. Like normally you have the massive trucks, the satellites. And so it's kind of like that. It's got that kind of potential all over industry, all over technology. So I think 5G is next for all of us. Yeah.